You see, everybody want to be a leader. Everybody want to stand up in front, have the mic, have the influence, get the credit, get the likes, get the attention. But let me tell you something, leadership don't start with the spotlight. Leadership starts in the dark. It starts when nobody's watching, when there's no audience, no applause, no cameras, and no thank yous. That's where real leadership is born. It's not a title, it's not a position, it's a decision to sacrifice. I need you to understand greatness don't come cheap. Leadership don't come without a cost, and too many of y'all want leadership like it's a coupon. How much can I get without giving too much? You want the influence, but you don't want the inconvenience. You want the power, but you don't want the pressure. You want the authority, but you don't want the accountability. But listen to me, real leaders, they go first. They take the hit, they carry the weight, they bleed first so other people don't have to. When you become a leader, you don't get more perks, you get more problems. You don't get more rest, you get more responsibility. The weight of leadership will humble you if you're doing it right. There will be nights where you cry yourself to sleep because you're carrying the pain of people who don't even appreciate it. You'll show up for folks who won't clap for you. You'll pray for people who talk behind your back, but you still show up. Why? Because that's what leadership is. Leadership means you show up first, you eat last, you listen more than you speak. You give more than you take, and if you're not ready for that, you're not ready to lead. Leadership is not about controlling people. It's about serving them, lifting them, protecting them. It's about becoming the kind of person who will go through the fire so others don't have to. And I get it. It's hard, it's heavy, it's lonely sometimes, but guess what? It's worth it. Stop chasing the image of leadership and start chasing the impact. Because the truth is, some of the most powerful leaders you'll ever meet don't have titles. They don't have followers on social media. They don't have fancy bios, but what they do have is character, integrity, consistency, discipline. They show up when it's hard. They speak life when everything looks dead. They don't lead because it's trendy. They lead because they were called to. I'm telling you right now, if you think leadership is about being in front, you already missed it. Leadership ain't about being in front of people. It's about being under the weight of responsibility for people. It's about holding it together when everybody else falling apart. It's about putting your ego on the shelf so your team can shine. It's about doing what's right, not what's easy. And if you're waiting for somebody to hand you a leadership position before you act like a leader, you already lost. Leaders don't wait to be appointed. They show up and they prove it. Let me give it to you plain. Your team, your family, your classroom, your business, they don't need a boss. They don't need a manager. They need a leader. Somebody with vision, somebody with heart, somebody who doesn't just talk, somebody who walks. They need someone who's willing to bleed before they believe. They need someone who doesn't flinch under pressure, who doesn't fold when it's hard. That's what separates the real from the fake. That's what separates the leaders from the loud mouths, because anybody can shout, anybody can post a quote. But not everybody can take the hits. Not everybody can keep moving when it hurts. And that is what leadership is all about: resilience, sacrifice, strength under fire. When everybody else is pointing fingers, the leader says, "Put it on me." When everybody else is quitting, the leader says, "Let's go one more round." When everybody else is hiding, the leader is on the front line, holding it down, not for applause, not for credit, but because it's who they are. You don't become a leader when people follow you. You become a leader when you make the decision to go first. When you decide, I'm gonna be the one, I'm gonna be the example, I'm gonna carry the weight, I'm gonna set the tone, I'm gonna take the fall if I have to, but I will not let my people down. Because leadership is less about your position and more about your posture. Less about how loud you are and more about how low you're willing to go to lift others up. That's where the real power is, not in how many people follow you, but in how many people you raise up to lead with you. So don't ask for the title, ask for the test. Don't look for the spotlight, look for the struggle. That's where leaders are born. In the trenches, in the tears, in the quiet when nobody sees you. And you show up anyway. You want to be a great leader. Then start by being willing to suffer when nobody's watching. That's how you earn the right to lead. Let me talk to you real quick about something that's gonna hurt some feelings, but it's the truth. Consistency will break the curse. Everybody wants results. Everybody wants to be respected. Everybody want to build something legendary. But don't nobody want to be consistent long enough to get it. We live in a generation that's addicted to motivation but allergic to discipline. Y'all keep waiting for the mood to hit you before you move. But let me help you right now. Leaders don't move off mood. They move off mission. You're not gonna feel like it every day. You're not gonna wake up every morning with fire in your belly. Some days you're gonna be tired. Some days life is gonna punch you in the mouth. Some days the people you're leading ain't even gonna respect the effort you put in, but you still gotta show up. Why? Because that's what consistency is. It's doing what needs to be done long after the feeling you had when you started is gone. See, I don't care how talented you are. I don't care how loud you are. I don't care how many books you've read, how many certifications you got, or how smooth you talk on stage. If you don't have consistency, you don't have credibility. Let me say that again. If you don't have consistency, you don't have credibility. Because people don't follow what you say, why they follow what you do. They're not watching your moments, they're watching your patterns. They want to know, can I trust this person to show up when it's hard? Can I trust them when it's not trending anymore? Can I count on them when everything is on the line? That's why leadership ain't about hype. It's about habits. Some of you got big goals, but your habits don't match your dreams. You're asking for overflow, but you only show up when it's convenient. You're talking about legacy, but you quit every time you get tired. Listen to me, you will never lead at a high level if your consistency is low. Leaders show up in the rain. They show up when they're misunderstood. They show up when they're hurt, broke, exhausted, frustrated because their why is bigger than their emotions. You want to know what makes a real leader dangerous. It's not talent. It's not charisma. It's not even experience. It's the ability to be unshakable in the face of pressure. The ability to keep moving forward with discipline when distraction is pulling at them from every side. The ability to say, I don't feel like it today, but my people need me, my family needs me, my calling demands it. That's leadership. That's consistency. You're not going to build trust off your highlight reel. Trust is built in the quiet moments. In the daily grind, when it's just you and the work, you build trust when you're 10 toes down, even when you're tired. When you pick up that phone call, even when you're drained. When you show up to that meeting when you'd rather stay in bed. That's where leaders earn their stripes in the shadows, not the spotlight. Look, it's easy to be excited when things are new. Everybody's locked in at the beginning. But leadership ain't about being loud in the first quarter. It's about still being locked in when it's overtime and you're bleeding and the clock is running out and everything's on the line. That's where consistency separates the real from the random. Everybody can start. Few can stay. Even fewer can finish. You want to break generational curses. You want to be the first in your family to lead at this level. It's not going to be talent. It's not going to be luck. It's not going to be who you know. It's going to be consistency. Showing up again and again and again until it breaks, until the excuses break, until the fear breaks. Until the poverty mindset breaks, until the doubt breaks, consistency is the weapon. So don't tell me you want to be great if you can't be consistent. Don't tell me you're a leader if your emotions control your effort. Show me, not today, not tomorrow. Show me every single day, no matter what comes. Because when consistency becomes your standard, excellence becomes your legacy. Let's get something straight right now. If you gotta lead, you better lead with vision, not vibes. Stop trying to guide people with your feelings. Stop trying to build something solid off of something soft. Your emotions go up and down, vibes come and go. But vision is what holds everything together when everything around you is falling apart. Listen to me, feelings are real, but they're not facts. You can't lead off what feels good today, because what feels good today might destroy you tomorrow. If you're leading off your mood, your people are gonna be lost. Because moods change, but mission stays. That's what separates the ones who lead for a moment from the ones who lead for a lifetime, the ones who know where they're going even when everything around them says turn back. Some of y'all think leadership is about catching a wave. Nah, that's not leadership, that's luck. I'm not talking about what you stumbled into. I'm talking about what you built. I'm talking about having a vision that's so locked in, so clear, so deep in your soul that no matter what comes, storms, setbacks, silence, you still move with purpose. That's what leaders do. They don't let life shake the vision. They hold it steady and say, let's go. And let me be real, having a vision doesn't mean you always know how it's gonna work out. It just means you know why you can't quit. It means you can see something greater than what's in front of you. Leaders don't just see what's now, they see what's next. They see potential in chaos. They see future in failure. They see growth in pain, and when everybody else is panicking, they're focused, they're locked in. They don't need the crowd to validate the call. They don't need a vibe to tell them who they are. They've already seen it. But here's the problem. Most people are so caught up in what's happening around them. They forgot what's supposed to be happening through them. You're too distracted by the noise. You're too caught up in people's opinions. You're listening to every vibe, every trend, every voice. But you can't even hear your own. You can't lead like that. You can't be double-minded and expect single direction progress. You've got to get back to vision. You've got to be able to close your eyes and still see it, still believe it, still move like it's already done. That's leadership. That's what your people are looking for, not someone who just reacts, not someone who shifts with the wind. They need someone who knows where we're headed even when the path is unclear. They need a leader who doesn't fold under fear, who doesn't panic in pressure, who says, I don't care how it feels right now. We're still going forward. Because let me tell you something, when life hits, when the pressure's on, when the lights go out, vibes won't save you. Vibes won't hold your team together, vibes won't keep you disciplined, only vision will, and some of y'all wonder why you feel stuck. It's not that you're not gifted, it's that you're too emotional. You let every feeling pull you off track. You get discouraged and you disappear. You get tired and you check out. You get criticized and you shut down. Listen, leadership ain't for the thin-skinned. You can't let every comment, every disappointment, every delay get you off the assignment. You've got to rise above it. You've got to be the one who keeps speaking life when everyone else is speaking fear. You've got to be the one who says, I see beyond this moment, I see beyond this mess, I see something greater and I refuse to let it die. Because if the leader loses the vision, the people perish. If the leader gets distracted, the mission stalls. If the leader can't stand firm, everything else falls apart. That's why you don't get the luxury of leading off vibes. You carry something too important, too sacred, too necessary. So I'm asking you right now, what's your vision? What's the picture that pulls you when nothing else can? What's the future you're building when the present looks empty? If you don't have that, you'll always be at the mercy of your emotions. But when you've got vision, real vision, nothing can stop you. Not the storm, not the setback, not the silence. And once you lock into it, once you commit to that thing, don't let up. Don't let people who don't see it talk you out of it. Don't let fear shrink it. Don't let failure cancel it. That's how you lead with vision. That's how you lead when nothing else is working. You lock your eyes on where you're going and you don't flinch. Let me tell you something that most people miss. You're not a great leader just because people follow you. You're a great leader when the people around you start rising because of you. It ain't about you. It never was. Leadership is not about being seen. It's about seeing others. It's not about how high you go. It's about how many people you bring up with you on the way. Too many folks out here trying to be the loudest in the room, trying to be the smartest, the most powerful, the one everybody claps for. But real leaders, they don't need the spotlight. They become the spotlight for somebody else. They don't just show up, they build people up. That's the difference. That's the standard. You want to know if you're a real leader. Ask yourself this: are the people around me growing? Are they getting stronger, wiser, more focused, more confident? Or are they just orbiting around my ego while I act like I'm the sun? Because I promise you, if you the only one winning, you not leading. You just performing. A great leader doesn't compete with their team. They create room for their team to flourish. They don't micromanage. They empower. They don't intimidate. They elevate. Leadership isn't about control. It's about culture. You set the tone. You speak life. You give people permission to believe in themselves just because you believed first. Sometimes that means giving someone a shot they weren't sure they deserved. Sometimes it means seeing potential in someone who's been overlooked their whole life. Sometimes it means pulling somebody aside and saying, I see something in you. You're better than this. You've got more in you. Don't settle. That's leadership. That's legacy. And yeah, it takes humility, because to lift others up, you gotta be willing to step back. You gotta let someone else shine. You gotta let go of the need to always be in control, always be the center. But when you do, when you give someone the space to grow, to try, to fail, to rise, that's where the magic happens. That's when your leadership multiplies. You were never meant to do it alone. You were never meant to be the hero of every story. A real leader creates other leaders. You plant seeds. You develop people. You teach them to think for themselves. You teach them to lead with integrity, with strength, with vision, and over time you see that thing multiply, and that's when you know you've done your job. The goal is not for people to need you forever. The goal is to build them up so strong, so equipped, so focused, that they can go out and lead without you, that they can stand on their own 2 feet and say, because of how they led me, I found my purpose, I found my voice, I found my power. That is what great leadership does. It changes people from the inside out, and let me be clear, it's not always pretty. Sometimes the people you pour into will disappoint you. Sometimes they'll walk away. Sometimes they'll doubt themselves even when you see the greatness clear as day. But you still pour, you still believe, you still lead. Why? Because that's what leaders do. They don't give up on people. They don't stop sowing just because the harvest takes time. They stay committed to the growth even when it's slow, even when it's painful, even when it's thankless, because it's not about the recognition, it's about the responsibility. And your responsibility is to build, to speak life, to set the standard, to lift the people around you so high that even if you fall, they still stand tall. That's the kind of leadership that lasts. That's the kind of leadership the world needs. That's the kind of leadership that changes lives. So don't just show up for yourself. Show up for the people watching you, the ones counting on you, the ones trying to figure out what's possible by looking at how you move. Be the example, be the light, be the one who says, if I can make it, you can too. Let me help you get there. Because in the end, it's not about how high you climbed. It's about how many people climbed because of you.